The concept of principal due diligence encompasses a rigorous and multidimensional process that extends far beyond conventional applications such as background checks or public record searches. To truly assess a principal's credibility, financial stability, and operational integrity, one must delve into a comprehensive framework that examines both overt and nuanced data sources. Advanced techniques such as analyzing Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, filings, court records, and regulatory histories serve as vital tools in uncovering information that may not be readily available through standard inquiries. UCC filings, for example, offer insight into a principal's secured transactions, providing critical data about their financial obligations, lending relationships, and potential encumbrances on assets. These filings can highlight patterns of over-leveraging or reliance on specific financial instruments that might indicate instability or risk-taking behavior. Similarly, court records reveal a broader scope of a principal's legal engagements, including civil litigation, criminal proceedings, and bankruptcy cases. Beyond identifying instances of direct legal jeopardy, such records may illustrate a history of disputes with partners, vendors, or employees, shedding light on operational behaviors and management styles that could influence trustworthiness. Regulatory histories further complement this inquiry by identifying compliance patterns within industries subject to government oversight. For instance, a principal operating in highly regulated sectors such as healthcare or finance may possess a documented record of enforcement actions, fines, or sanctions. The presence or absence of such records reflects their approach to adhering to industry standards and navigating complex regulatory environments. Collectively, these advanced data sources provide a mosaic of factual evidence that transcends superficial assurances, allowing investigators to assemble a more detailed portrait of the principal's operational landscape. Evaluating a principal's trustworthiness requires an equally nuanced approach that incorporates reputational risk indicators and subjective industry chatter. Reputational risks are often gleaned through third-party assessments, media analyses, and local community insights. Publicly available media, for instance, may contain overlooked details such as investigative reports or financial exposés, which often offer contextual nuances missed by standard legal or financial assessments. Meanwhile, industry chatter, though less formal, serves as a critical barometer for gauging intangible qualities like ethical standing and interpersonal reliability. Informal networks within local or regional industry groups often circulate narratives that can signal red flags or reinforce trustworthiness. These stories, while anecdotal, frequently reveal recurring patterns of behavior that formal metrics cannot capture, such as tendencies toward opaque decision-making or exploitative practices. Historical context further enriches the understanding of principal due diligence by tracing the evolution of investigatory techniques and their relevance across different economic eras. Traditionally, principal investigations were limited to straightforward inquiries into creditworthiness and visible assets. However, with the digital revolution and the emergence of big data analytics, the scope of due diligence has expanded exponentially. The rise of interconnected datasets has enabled the triangulation of obscure details, such as discrepancies in reported business activities versus actual operational footprints. This evolution demonstrates the growing intersection of data science and due diligence, where tools like predictive modeling and machine learning increasingly play pivotal roles in identifying latent risks. From a theoretical standpoint, due diligence draws upon interdisciplinary frameworks that merge economics, sociology, and behavioral science. Economic theories related to moral hazard and adverse selection underscore the risks posed by principals who may act opportunistically or misrepresent their capabilities to achieve favorable outcomes. Behavioral science, in contrast, emphasizes the cognitive biases that can influence decision-making during the vetting process. For instance, investigators may unconsciously overemphasize positive information about a principal with prestigious affiliations, such as Ivy League education or leadership roles in Fortune 500 companies, while neglecting critical but less conspicuous factors like unresolved litigation. Sociological theories, particularly those concerning social capital and network theory, offer valuable perspectives on how a principal's embeddedness within specific professional or social networks can either enhance or undermine their credibility. Strong ties within reputable networks may signal trustworthiness, while connections to dubious actors can indicate higher risks of unethical behavior. Practical applications of principal due diligence vary widely depending on the context in which it is deployed. In mergers and acquisitions, for example, the depth of due diligence often determines the success or failure of multi-million-dollar transactions. In these scenarios, undiscovered liabilities or hidden conflicts of interest can lead to catastrophic financial and reputational damage. Similarly, in industries such as construction or real estate, principals are often assessed for their ability to manage complex projects under stringent timelines and budgets. In such cases, due diligence extends beyond verifying financial resources to include examining historical project performance, subcontractor relationships, and adherence to safety protocols. Even in less high-stakes environments, such as vendor selection or small-scale partnerships, thorough due diligence is essential to mitigate risks and ensure alignment of values and expectations. Contemporary debates surrounding principal due diligence highlight both its expanding importance and the ethical dilemmas it introduces. Advocates of enhanced due diligence argue that increased scrutiny is necessary to address the growing complexity of global markets and the proliferation of bad actors exploiting regulatory gaps. However, critics contend that excessive investigation can infringe on privacy rights and deter innovation by imposing burdensome compliance requirements on legitimate principals. This tension underscores the need for balanced approaches that integrate advanced investigative techniques with ethical safeguards, ensuring that the process remains both effective and fair. Emerging technologies are reshaping the landscape of due diligence, introducing tools that allow for unprecedented depth and precision. Blockchain, for instance, offers a transparent and tamper-proof mechanism for verifying transactional histories and ownership claims. By leveraging blockchain technology, investigators can validate asset transfers and contractual agreements with a level of accuracy previously unattainable. Similarly, artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms enable the automated analysis of vast datasets, identifying anomalies and correlations that would otherwise escape human observation. These advancements not only enhance the efficiency of due diligence, but also open new frontiers for addressing previously insurmountable challenges, such as detecting cross-border fraud or uncovering hidden beneficial ownership structures. However, reliance on technology also introduces risks, including algorithmic biases and vulnerabilities to cyber attacks, which necessitate ongoing vigilance and adaptation. The ability to leverage industry networks for real-time intelligence represents a cornerstone of informed decision-making, particularly in contexts where formal data sources may lack immediacy, depth, or contextual relevance. Professional associations, trade groups, and subcontractor networks function as ecosystems of knowledge, providing informal yet critical insights into the performance and reliability of principals. These networks, shaped by shared experiences and collective expertise, offer an unparalleled vantage point for assessing the nuances of operational behaviors, reputational standing, and latent risks. The effective utilization of these resources requires not only a strategic understanding of their structure and dynamics, but also a skillful approach to fostering trust, reciprocity, and long-term engagement within them. Professional associations, as formalized collectives of industry stakeholders, serve as vital hubs for intelligence gathering. These organizations often aggregate members with shared professional interests, such as the American Institute of Marine Underwriters or the National Association of Surety Bond Producers. Membership in such associations provides access to a wealth of resources, including industry reports, benchmarking data, and educational programs. However, their most significant value lies in facilitating peer-to-peer interactions, where members exchange first-hand accounts of challenges and solutions. Informal conversations at conferences, workshops, and networking events often reveal patterns of behavior that are not captured in official records. For example, a principal with a history of non-performance on projects may be flagged during such discussions, providing an early warning system for potential partners. These insights are particularly valuable in industries characterized by high interdependence, such as construction, where the failure of one principal can have cascading effects on an entire supply chain. Trade groups, which often represent specific sectors or functions within an industry, provide a more granular level of intelligence. Unlike broad professional associations, trade groups focus on niche markets, enabling members to delve into sector-specific challenges and opportunities. For instance, a trade group dedicated to renewable energy might discuss the evolving regulatory landscape, new technologies, and case studies of successful projects. Within these discussions, members often share candid assessments of contractors, suppliers, and other principals. The intimacy of these groups fosters an environment where participants are more likely to divulge sensitive but critical information, such as the financial stability or ethical practices of a principal. Additionally, trade groups often maintain proprietary databases of member activities, offering another layer of real-time intelligence that can be cross-referenced with other sources. Subcontractor networks, while less formalized, are equally valuable for gathering intelligence on principal performance. These networks, often comprising smaller firms that work under larger contractors or project managers, possess a grassroots perspective on operational realities. Subcontractors frequently observe the day-to-day behaviors of principals, including their adherence to deadlines, treatment of employees, and commitment to quality. By engaging with these networks, decision-makers can gain unfiltered insights that are often absent from polished proposals or official statements. For instance, a subcontractor might reveal that a principal habitually delays payments, creating financial strain for smaller firms. Such information, though anecdotal, provides a critical dimension to the evaluation of a principal's reliability. Building and maintaining a network of trusted sources within these frameworks requires a strategic and sustained effort. At its core, the process involves cultivating relationships based on mutual benefit and shared values. One effective technique is active participation in industry events, where visibility and engagement create opportunities for organic connections. Attending panels, contributing to discussions, and volunteering for committee roles demonstrate a commitment to the collective goals of the network, fostering goodwill among members. Digital platforms such as LinkedIn or industry-specific forums also play a pivotal role in extending the reach of these efforts. By consistently sharing valuable insights, commenting on relevant topics, and acknowledging the contributions of others, professionals can build a digital presence that reinforces their credibility and approachability. Theoretical frameworks from sociology and organizational behavior provide further insight into the mechanics of network building. Social capital theory, for example, emphasizes the importance of trust, reciprocity, and shared norms in creating sustainable networks. According to this theory, individuals who invest in relationships without immediate expectations of return are more likely to cultivate networks that yield long-term benefits. Similarly, Granovetter's strength of weak ties hypothesis highlights the value of connections outside one's immediate circle. Weak ties, such as acquaintances or distant colleagues, often serve as bridges to new information and opportunities, making them indispensable for intelligence gathering. These concepts underscore the need for a balanced approach that values both deep, trust-based relationships and broader, diverse connections. Practical applications of industry networks extend across a wide range of contexts. In due diligence, for example, a well-maintained network can provide early warnings about principals with problematic histories. A trade group member might casually mention a principal's involvement in a high-profile lawsuit, prompting further investigation. Similarly, in risk management, subcontractor networks can identify operational vulnerabilities that might not be evident from formal assessments. A subcontractor's report of frequent on-site accidents, for instance, could indicate systemic safety issues that warrant closer scrutiny. In strategic planning, professional associations can offer insights into emerging trends, enabling decision-makers to anticipate shifts in the competitive landscape. By integrating these diverse perspectives, organizations can make more informed decisions, mitigate risks, and capitalize on opportunities. Contemporary debates surrounding the use of industry networks for intelligence gathering often center on ethical considerations and the potential for bias. Critics argue that informal insights, while valuable, can sometimes be subjective or incomplete, leading to misjudgments. For example, negative feedback from a subcontractor might reflect personal grievances rather than objective deficiencies. To address these concerns, it is essential to triangulate network-based intelligence with other data sources, such as financial statements, performance metrics, and third-party audits. Additionally, the ethical implications of sharing sensitive information within networks must be carefully managed to avoid breaches of confidentiality or reputational harm. Establishing clear guidelines for information sharing, including anonymization and verification protocols, can help mitigate these risks while preserving the utility of network-based intelligence. Emerging technologies are reshaping the dynamics of industry networks, creating new opportunities and challenges for intelligence gathering. Artificial intelligence and data analytics enable the aggregation and analysis of network interactions at an unprecedented scale, uncovering patterns and correlations that were previously inaccessible. For instance, sentiment analysis tools can scan digital forums and social media platforms for mentions of principles, providing real-time indicators of reputational shifts. Blockchain technology, with its decentralized and transparent architecture, offers a mechanism for verifying the authenticity of shared information, reducing the risk of misinformation within networks. However, these advancements also introduce complexities, such as the potential for algorithmic biases and the need for robust cybersecurity measures to protect sensitive data. Historical context further enriches the understanding of industry networks, tracing their evolution from informal guilds and trade unions to modern, technology-driven ecosystems. In the early days of industrialization, networks were primarily local, relying on face-to-face interactions and word-of-mouth exchanges. With globalization and the rise of digital communication, these networks have expanded in scope and complexity, creating both opportunities and challenges for intelligence gathering. The historical shift from localized to globalized networks underscores the importance of adaptability and continuous learning in leveraging these resources effectively. From an interdisciplinary perspective, the study of industry networks intersects with fields such as anthropology, economics, and information science. Anthropological studies of social structures and cultural norms provide valuable insights into the informal dynamics of network interactions, while economic theories of information asymmetry highlight the role of networks in reducing uncertainties. Information science, with its focus on data management and communication technologies, offers practical tools for optimizing network utilization, from data visualization to collaborative platforms. Practical techniques for maintaining trusted networks emphasize consistency, transparency, and value creation. Regular engagement, whether through attending events or participating in online discussions, reinforces relationships and ensures continued access to valuable insights. Transparency in communication builds trust, while value creation, such as sharing useful information or offering expertise, demonstrates reciprocity. These principles, when applied consistently, create a virtuous cycle of mutual benefit that sustains the network over time. The development of reputation scoring models represents a transformative approach to quantifying the qualitative aspects of a principal's performance and reliability. These models provide a systematic, data-driven framework for assessing reputation, enabling stakeholders such as underwriters, investors, and risk managers to make informed decisions with greater precision and transparency. At their core, reputation scoring models rely on the careful identification and weighting of variables that collectively capture the multifaceted nature of trustworthiness and reliability. Key variables often include project timeliness, litigation history, client feedback, and subcontractor treatment, each offering unique insights into a principal's operational behaviors and ethical standards. By integrating these variables into a proprietary scoring system, organizations can create actionable metrics that align with their strategic priorities and risk tolerance. The construction of a reputation scoring model begins with the selection of relevant variables, a process that requires both industry expertise and analytical rigor. Project timeliness, for instance, serves as a critical indicator of operational efficiency and resource management. Delays in project completion often signal deeper systemic issues, such as inadequate planning, poor communication, or financial instability. To quantify this variable, organizations may collect historical data on project timelines, comparing planned versus actual completion dates across a portfolio of projects. This data can then be normalized to account for contextual factors, such as external disruptions or industry-specific challenges, ensuring that the scoring model remains fair and objective. Litigation history provides another essential dimension to reputation scoring, offering insight into a principal's legal and ethical conduct. A pattern of frequent litigation, particularly involving contract disputes or regulatory violations, raises red flags about a principal's ability to operate within established norms and agreements. Quantifying litigation history often involves analyzing public court records to determine the frequency, nature, and outcomes of legal cases. Advanced analytics, such as text mining and sentiment analysis, can further enrich this process by uncovering qualitative insights from case documents, such as judicial opinions or plaintiff allegations. These insights can then be incorporated into the scoring model, with higher weights assigned to cases involving fraud, negligence, or other high-risk behaviors. Client feedback serves as a valuable source of qualitative data, capturing first-hand accounts of a principal's performance from the perspective of stakeholders who interact with them directly. Feedback data can be collected through surveys, reviews, or third-party assessments, often focusing on factors such as responsiveness, professionalism, and overall satisfaction. To integrate this variable into a reputation scoring model, organizations must first standardize the feedback data, converting subjective ratings into numerical scores that can be aggregated and analyzed. Weighting client feedback appropriately is critical, as it reflects the subjective nature of human perception and may be influenced by factors such as personal bias or expectations. By triangulating client feedback with other objective variables, the model can mitigate these limitations and provide a balanced assessment. The treatment of subcontractors offers an additional layer of insight, particularly in industries where hierarchical relationships play a significant role in project execution. Subcontractor treatment encompasses a range of factors, including payment practices, communication quality, and adherence to contractual agreements. Poor treatment of subcontractors not only damages relationships, but also disrupts project workflows and increases reputational risk within industry networks. Data on subcontractor treatment can be gathered through direct interviews, industry reports, or anonymized surveys, with specific metrics such as average payment time or reported grievances serving as proxies for reliability and fairness. Incorporating this variable into the scoring model underscores the importance of ethical and sustainable business practices, aligning reputation assessment with broader organizational values. The weighting of variables within a reputation scoring model is both an art and a science, requiring a deep understanding of industry dynamics and risk priorities. Weighting decisions often involve a combination of expert judgment and statistical analysis, such as regression modeling or factor analysis, to determine the relative importance of each variable. For example, in high-risk industries such as construction or finance, litigation history and subcontractor treatment may carry higher weights due to their direct impact on operational stability and regulatory compliance. Conversely, in consumer-focused industries, client feedback may be weighted more heavily, reflecting the critical role of customer satisfaction in driving business success. Sensitivity analysis further refines the weighting process, testing the model's robustness under different scenarios and ensuring that it accurately reflects real-world conditions. Historical context provides valuable perspective on the evolution of reputation scoring models, tracing their roots from informal evaluations to sophisticated data-driven systems. Traditionally, reputation assessment relied heavily on subjective judgment and personal relationships, with decision-makers drawing on anecdotal evidence or word-of-mouth recommendations. While effective in close-knit communities or localized industries, this approach lacked scalability and consistency, making it ill-suited for the complexities of modern global markets. The advent of digital technology and big data analytics has revolutionized this landscape, enabling the systematic collection and analysis of vast datasets that capture multiple dimensions of reputation. These advancements have paved the way for the development of proprietary scoring models that combine quantitative rigor with qualitative depth, offering a more comprehensive and actionable approach to reputation assessment. Theoretical frameworks from fields such as behavioral economics, sociology, and decision science provide a deeper understanding of the principles underlying reputation scoring models. Behavioral economics, for example, highlights the role of cognitive biases and heuristics in shaping perceptions of reputation, emphasizing the need for objective metrics to counteract these influences. Sociological theories of social capital and trust further illuminate the relational aspects of reputation, exploring how networks and norms influence collective evaluations of principles. Decision science, with its focus on risk assessment and utility optimization, offers practical tools for integrating reputation scores into broader decision-making processes, such as underwriting or investment analysis. Practical applications of reputation scoring models span a wide range of industries and use cases, with underwriting decisions serving as a particularly prominent example. In the insurance industry, reputation scores can inform the assessment of policyholder risk, guiding decisions on coverage limits, premiums, or exclusions. For instance, a construction firm with a high reputation score based on timely project completion and positive client feedback may qualify for lower premiums or broader coverage terms, reflecting its lower risk profile. Conversely, a principal with a history of litigation and delayed payments may face higher premiums or stricter policy conditions, aligning the insurer's exposure with the underlying risk. Case studies illustrate the tangible impact of these models on underwriting outcomes, demonstrating their ability to enhance risk selection, pricing accuracy, and portfolio performance. Contemporary debates surrounding reputation scoring models often center on issues of fairness, transparency, and data privacy. Critics argue that these models may inadvertently reinforce existing biases or overlook contextual factors, leading to unjust outcomes. For example, a principal operating in a high-risk environment may be penalized for factors beyond their control, such as regulatory constraints or supply chain disruptions. To address these concerns, organizations must prioritize transparency in their scoring methodologies, clearly articulating the rationale behind variable selection and weighting. Additionally, the ethical use of data is paramount, requiring strict adherence to privacy regulations and best practices in data governance. Advanced techniques such as differential privacy or federated learning can further enhance data security while preserving the analytical power of the model. Emerging technologies are reshaping the future of reputation scoring, introducing new opportunities and challenges for model development. Artificial intelligence and machine learning enable the real-time processing of complex datasets, uncovering patterns and insights that were previously inaccessible. Natural language processing, for instance, can analyze textual data from social media, news articles, or customer reviews, providing rich qualitative inputs for reputation assessment. Blockchain technology offers a transparent and immutable framework for verifying the authenticity of data, reducing the risk of manipulation or fraud. However, these innovations also raise important questions about accountability, algorithmic bias, and the balance between automation and human oversight, highlighting the need for ongoing research and ethical considerations in the field. Benchmarking against industry standards and competitor metrics serves as a pivotal strategy for organizations aiming to evaluate and enhance their operational efficiency and credibility. By systematically identifying key industry benchmarks, companies can position themselves relative to their peers, thereby gaining insights into areas requiring improvement and recognizing their competitive advantages. This process involves a comprehensive analysis of performance indicators that are widely accepted within the industry, such as production rates, quality control measures, financial ratios, and customer satisfaction levels. For instance, in the manufacturing sector, benchmarks might include overall equipment effectiveness, defect rates, and inventory turnover ratios, which collectively provide a holistic view of operational performance. The identification of these benchmarks necessitates a deep understanding of the industry's operational landscape and the factors that influence success. This often involves consulting industry reports, engaging with professional associations, and analyzing data from regulatory bodies. For example, the International Organization for Standardization provides globally recognized standards that can serve as benchmarks for quality management and environmental performance. By aligning with such standards, principals not only demonstrate compliance but also signal their commitment to best practices, thereby enhancing their credibility in the marketplace. Accessing competitor data and market intelligence is equally critical in benchmarking efforts, as it allows organizations to gauge how principals stack up in their respective fields. Competitive intelligence involves the systematic collection and analysis of information about competitors' strategies, capabilities, and performance metrics. This can be achieved through various means, including analyzing competitors' financial statements, monitoring their marketing activities, and engaging with industry analysts. Additionally, technological advancements have facilitated the use of big data analytics and artificial intelligence to mine vast amounts of publicly available data, providing nuanced insights into competitors' operations. Historical context underscores the evolution of benchmarking as a strategic tool. Originating in the late 1970s and early 1980s, benchmarking gained prominence through the practices of companies like Xerox Corporation, which sought to improve its manufacturing processes by studying the methods of Japanese competitors. This approach was further formalized by Robert C. Camp's seminal work, Benchmarking: The Search for Industry Best Practices That Lead to Superior Performance, which provided a methodological framework for organizations to systematically compare themselves against industry leaders. Theoretical frameworks underpinning benchmarking draw from various disciplines, including strategic management, organizational theory, and operations research. The resource-based view of the firm, for instance, suggests that competitive advantage arises from unique resources and capabilities. Benchmarking, in this context, enables firms to identify gaps in their resource configurations relative to competitors, thereby informing strategic investments in capability development. Additionally, the concept of total quality management emphasizes continuous improvement through the systematic measurement and analysis of performance metrics, aligning closely with benchmarking practices. Practical applications of benchmarking extend across multiple organizational domains. In supply chain management, for example, companies may benchmark their logistics efficiency by comparing delivery times, freight costs, and inventory levels against industry averages. In human resources, benchmarking can involve assessing employee turnover rates, training expenditures, and productivity metrics relative to competitors. These comparisons enable organizations to identify best practices and implement strategies to enhance their performance. Moreover, benchmarking supports strategic planning by providing data-driven insights that inform goal setting, resource allocation, and performance monitoring. Interdisciplinary connections further enrich the benchmarking process. Insights from data science enable more sophisticated analysis of benchmarking data, incorporating predictive analytics and machine learning algorithms to identify trends and forecast performance outcomes. Behavioral economics contributes to understanding how organizational behaviors and decision-making processes influence performance metrics, offering perspectives on how to drive cultural change for improvement. Additionally, insights from psychology can inform how benchmarking results are communicated within an organization to motivate employees and foster a culture of excellence. Contemporary debates surrounding benchmarking often center on the challenges of data availability, comparability, and the risk of fostering a copycat mentality. Critics argue that excessive focus on benchmarking can lead organizations to imitate competitors rather than innovate, potentially stifling creativity and leading to homogenization within the industry. To mitigate these risks, it is essential for organizations to balance benchmarking efforts with strategies that foster innovation and differentiation. Furthermore, ensuring the comparability of data is crucial, as differences in operational contexts, scale, and market conditions can distort comparisons. This necessitates careful selection of benchmarking partners and adjustment of data to account for contextual factors. Accessing competitor data poses ethical and legal considerations. While much information is publicly available through financial disclosures, regulatory filings, and market reports, organizations must be cautious to avoid engaging in corporate espionage or violating confidentiality agreements. Adhering to ethical guidelines and legal regulations is paramount to maintain organizational integrity and avoid potential litigation. Professional associations and industry consortiums often provide aggregated data that can be used for benchmarking without infringing on individual competitors' proprietary information. Advanced and speculative insights suggest that the future of benchmarking will be increasingly shaped by digital transformation and the integration of real-time data analytics. The proliferation of Internet of Things devices and the growth of Industry 4.0 technologies enable the continuous collection of performance data across operational processes. This real-time data can feed into dynamic benchmarking systems, allowing organizations to adjust strategies rapidly in response to changing conditions. Furthermore, the application of blockchain technology offers the potential for secure and transparent sharing of benchmarking data among industry participants, enhancing collaboration while protecting sensitive information. In terms of weighting variables in benchmarking analyses, organizations must consider the relative importance of different performance indicators based on their strategic objectives and industry characteristics. For example, in industries where customer satisfaction is a critical success factor, metrics such as Net Promoter Score and customer retention rates may be weighted more heavily. In capital-intensive industries, financial ratios such as return on invested capital and debt-to-equity ratios may take precedence. Multi-criteria decision-making methods, such as the analytic hierarchy process, can assist in systematically determining the weights of different variables based on expert judgment and strategic priorities. Case studies provide practical illustrations of how benchmarking against industry standards and competitor metrics influences organizational decision-making. For instance, Toyota Motor Corporation's implementation of the Toyota Production System exemplifies the use of benchmarking to achieve operational excellence. By continuously comparing its production processes against industry best practices, Toyota has maintained its position as a leader in efficiency and quality. Similarly, Southwest Airlines' focus on benchmarking its operational efficiency metrics, such as turnaround times and on-time performance, has contributed to its sustained competitive advantage in the airline industry. Accessing market intelligence involves leveraging a variety of sources, including industry reports from organizations like Gartner, McKinsey & Company, and Deloitte, which provide analyses of industry trends and performance benchmarks. Additionally, subscribing to specialized databases and analytics platforms enables organizations to access detailed competitor profiles, market share data, and trend analyses. Participating in industry conferences and networking events also facilitates the exchange of insights and best practices, enhancing the depth and breadth of benchmarking efforts. The role of regulatory bodies and government agencies in providing industry data cannot be overlooked. Agencies such as the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States require public companies to disclose financial and operational information, which can be invaluable for benchmarking purposes. Internationally, organizations like the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development and the World Bank publish reports and data sets that offer macro-level benchmarks across industries and countries, enabling organizations to contextualize their performance within global trends. Interdisciplinary approaches to benchmarking encourage the incorporation of environmental, social, and governance metrics, reflecting the growing importance of sustainable and ethical business practices. Integrating these benchmarks allows organizations to assess their performance on parameters such as carbon footprint, labor practices, and corporate governance structures. This holistic approach aligns with the principles of stakeholder theory, which advocates for considering the interests of all stakeholders, including employees, customers, suppliers, and the broader community. In the realm of technology, benchmarking in the information technology sector often involves comparing system performance metrics such as processing speeds, uptime percentages, and cybersecurity measures. The rapid pace of technological advancement necessitates continuous benchmarking to remain competitive. Organizations may use standardized tests and certifications, such as those provided by the Standard Performance Evaluation Corporation, to benchmark hardware and software performance against industry standards. The theoretical underpinnings of competitive strategy, as articulated by scholars like Michael Porter, emphasize the importance of understanding industry structure and competitive forces. Porter's 5 Forces framework provides a tool for analyzing the competitive environment, which can inform benchmarking efforts by highlighting areas where competitive pressure is most intense. By benchmarking against competitors in areas such as supplier power, threat of new entrants, and intensity of rivalry, organizations can develop strategies to enhance their market position. Behavioral considerations also play a role in benchmarking. The concept of organizational learning suggests that benchmarking facilitates knowledge acquisition and dissemination within the organization. By exposing employees to best practices and innovative approaches from competitors and industry leaders, benchmarking can drive organizational change and foster a culture of continuous improvement. However, Resistance to change and cognitive biases may hinder the effective implementation of insights gained from benchmarking, necessitating change management strategies to overcome these barriers. Advanced statistical techniques and data visualization tools enhance the effectiveness of benchmarking analyses. Techniques such as data envelopment analysis and stochastic frontier analysis allow for the assessment of efficiency and productivity relative to a frontier of best practices. These methods account for multiple input and output variables, providing a more nuanced understanding of performance. Data visualization tools, such as interactive dashboards and heat maps, facilitate the communication of benchmarking results to stakeholders, enabling more informed decision-making. Ethical considerations in benchmarking extend to issues of data integrity and the responsible use of information. Organizations must ensure that the data used in benchmarking is accurate, reliable, and collected in compliance with privacy regulations such as the General Data Protection Regulation. Additionally, the interpretation and presentation of benchmarking results should be conducted with honesty and transparency, avoiding the manipulation of data to present a misleading picture of performance. These considerations highlight the importance of establishing robust governance frameworks around benchmarking activities, integrating ethical principles with strategic objectives. Moreover, the integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms offers new frontiers for benchmarking practices. Predictive analytics can identify emerging trends and forecast competitor moves, enabling organizations to proactively adjust their strategies. Natural language processing techniques can analyze unstructured data from news articles, social media, and customer reviews, providing real-time insights into market sentiment and competitor reputation. The use of these advanced technologies necessitates a skilled workforce with expertise in data science and analytics, underscoring the interdisciplinary nature of modern benchmarking efforts. Collaborative benchmarking initiatives, such as consortiums or industry alliances, facilitate the sharing of best practices and collective learning. These collaborations can lead to the establishment of new industry standards and drive innovation across the sector. However, they also require careful navigation of competitive dynamics and antitrust regulations to ensure that collaborative efforts do not lead to collusion or anti-competitive behavior. Legal counsel and compliance officers play a critical role in overseeing these initiatives, ensuring adherence to regulatory requirements while maximizing the benefits of collaboration. The impact of globalization on benchmarking cannot be overstated. As organizations operate across multiple countries and regions, benchmarking must account for diverse regulatory environments, cultural differences, and market conditions. This complexity adds layers to the benchmarking process, requiring more sophisticated analytical tools and methodologies. Cross-cultural management theories provide insights into how cultural dimensions, such as individualism versus collectivism or power distance, influence organizational behaviors and performance metrics. Incorporating these considerations into benchmarking analyses enhances the accuracy and relevance of comparisons across international boundaries. Sustainability and corporate social responsibility have become increasingly important in benchmarking, reflecting the growing emphasis on environmental stewardship and ethical business practices. Organizations are now benchmarking their performance on sustainability metrics such as carbon emissions, energy efficiency, and waste reduction. Frameworks like the Global Reporting Initiative and the Dow Jones Sustainability Index provide standards and benchmarks for reporting and comparing sustainability performance. Integrating these metrics into overall benchmarking efforts aligns organizational strategies with global sustainability goals and stakeholder expectations. Financial benchmarking remains a cornerstone of performance assessment, with key financial ratios serving as critical indicators of organizational health. Ratios such as return on equity, gross profit margin, and current ratio provide insights into profitability, operational efficiency, and liquidity. By comparing these ratios against industry averages and competitor figures, organizations can identify financial strengths and weaknesses. Advanced financial modeling techniques, including discounted cash flow analysis and economic value added, further enhance the depth of financial benchmarking, supporting strategic financial management and investment decisions. The role of leadership in driving successful benchmarking initiatives is paramount. Leaders must foster a culture that values data-driven decision-making and continuous improvement. Transformational leadership styles, which inspire and motivate employees to exceed expectations, can enhance the effectiveness of benchmarking efforts by encouraging innovation and adaptability. Leadership development programs and organizational development interventions can strengthen the capacity of leaders to guide benchmarking processes and implement resulting strategic changes. Educational institutions and research organizations contribute to the advancement of benchmarking methodologies through academic research and the development of new theoretical models. Collaborative research projects between academia and industry can lead to the creation of innovative benchmarking tools and the dissemination of best practices. Journals such as the International Journal of Operations and Production Management and Benchmarking, an international journal, publish cutting-edge research on benchmarking, providing valuable resources for practitioners and scholars alike. Finally, the human element in benchmarking must not be overlooked. Employee engagement and participation are critical for the successful implementation of benchmarking initiatives. Involving employees in the data collection and analysis process fosters a sense of ownership and commitment to organizational improvement. Training and development programs can equip employees with the skills necessary to interpret benchmarking data and contribute to strategic decision-making. Addressing potential resistance to change through effective communication and change management strategies ensures that benchmarking efforts are embraced and integrated into the organizational culture. Identifying red flags in principal reputation is a critical aspect of proactive risk management, especially within the realms of underwriting and financial decision-making. Spotting early warning signals enables organizations to mitigate potential risks before they escalate into significant financial losses or reputational damage. Subtle indicators such as high staff turnover, changes in financial backers, and unusual bidding patterns often serve as harbingers of underlying issues that may not be immediately apparent through standard due diligence processes. Understanding and interpreting these signals require a multifaceted approach that integrates historical context, theoretical frameworks, practical applications, and interdisciplinary perspectives. High staff turnover within an organization is a potent indicator of internal instability or dissatisfaction. From an organizational behavior standpoint, frequent employee departures can reflect a toxic work environment, ineffective leadership, or misalignment between the organization's values and those of its employees. Empirical studies, such as those published in the Journal of Applied Psychology, have demonstrated a strong correlation between high turnover rates and decreased organizational performance. This phenomenon not only affects operational efficiency, but also undermines stakeholder confidence. In the context of principal reputation, a pattern of high turnover may suggest deeper issues such as unethical practices, financial distress, or strategic misdirection, which can adversely impact an organization's credibility and reliability. Changes in financial backers are another significant red flag that warrants careful examination. Financial backers, including venture capitalists, private equity firms, and institutional investors, provide not only capital, but also validation of an organization's business model and strategic direction. Sudden withdrawals or shifts in financial support can signal a loss of confidence among investors, potential liquidity problems, or strategic disagreements. Theoretical frameworks like signaling theory in finance suggest that changes in investor behavior convey critical information to the market, affecting perceptions of risk and value. For instance, research published in the Review of Financial Studies indicates that the exit of prominent investors often leads to negative market reactions and can precipitate a decline in a company's stock price. Monitoring these changes is essential for underwriters and risk managers, as they can have profound implications for an organization's financial stability and creditworthiness. Unusual bidding patterns, such as consistently low or high bids relative to industry norms, may also indicate reputational concerns. From an economic perspective, bidding behavior reflects an organization's strategic objectives, cost structures, and market positioning. Abnormally low bids might suggest aggressive market entry strategies, desperation due to financial strain, or attempts to undercut competitors unsustainably. Conversely, excessively high bids could indicate inefficiencies, miscalculations, or an attempt to create the illusion of premium quality. Game theory provides a useful lens for analyzing bidding strategies, as it considers the interdependent decision-making processes of competing firms. Anomalies in bidding behavior can thus serve as early indicators of strategic misalignment or potential ethical issues, such as bid rigging or collusion. Utilizing these early warning signals to mitigate underwriting risks involves integrating qualitative insights with quantitative risk assessment models. Underwriters can incorporate red flags into their evaluation frameworks by adjusting risk ratings, requiring additional collateral, or imposing stricter terms and conditions. Risk management methodologies like the Enterprise Risk Management (ERM) framework advocate for a holistic approach that encompasses strategic, operational, financial, and reputational risks. By embedding red flag indicators into underwriting models, organizations can enhance their predictive capabilities and make more informed decisions. Historical context enriches the understanding of red flags in principal reputation by highlighting how past events have shaped current practices. The collapse of major corporations like Enron and WorldCom in the early 2000s underscored the catastrophic consequences of ignoring early warning signs. These corporate failures led to increased regulatory scrutiny and the enactment of laws such as the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002, which mandated greater transparency and accountability in financial reporting. Similarly, the global financial crisis of 2008 revealed systemic risks associated with inadequate oversight and the failure to recognize red flags in mortgage underwriting and credit default swaps. These historical lessons emphasize the importance of vigilance and the continuous improvement of risk detection mechanisms. Theoretical frameworks from various disciplines offer insights into the identification and interpretation of red flags. Organizational psychology examines factors influencing employee turnover, such as job satisfaction, organizational commitment, and leadership styles. Studies in this field suggest that transformational leadership and positive organizational culture reduce turnover intentions, whereas authoritarian management and poor communication increase them. In finance, agency theory explores conflicts of interest between principals and agents, highlighting how misaligned incentives can lead to unethical behavior or mismanagement. Understanding these theories aids in deciphering the underlying causes of red flags and informs the development of effective mitigation strategies. Practical applications involve implementing robust monitoring systems that track key performance indicators, KPIs, associated with red flags. For instance, organizations can establish thresholds for acceptable staff turnover rates based on industry benchmarks and initiate investigations when these thresholds are exceeded. Advanced data analytics and business intelligence tools facilitate real-time monitoring and trend analysis, enabling timely interventions. In the context of underwriting, due diligence processes can be enhanced by incorporating checks for recent changes in financial backers, analyzing funding rounds, and assessing investor profiles for stability and reputation. Interdisciplinary connections further deepen the analysis of red flags. Insights from sociology help explain how organizational culture and social networks influence employee behavior and corporate reputation. The concept of social capital emphasizes the value of relationships and trust within and between organizations. A decline in social capital, evidenced by high turnover or loss of key partnerships, can erode an organization's reputation and effectiveness. Legal studies contribute to understanding the implications of litigation history and regulatory compliance issues, which may serve as red flags indicative of broader operational or ethical problems. Contemporary debates focus on the challenges of balancing proactive risk management with the potential for overreaction or false positives. Critics argue that overemphasis on red flags may lead to unnecessary alarm, stigmatization of organizations undergoing legitimate restructuring, or hindrance of innovative business models that deviate from traditional patterns. Proponents of vigilant red flag monitoring contend that the costs of ignoring early warning signs far outweigh the risks of overcautiousness, citing numerous instances where failure to act on red flags resulted in significant losses. This debate underscores the importance of context-sensitive analysis and the integration of multiple data sources to validate concerns. Advanced and speculative insights consider the role of emerging technologies in enhancing red flag detection. Artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning algorithms can process vast amounts of structured and unstructured data to identify patterns and anomalies that may escape human analysts. For example, natural language processing, NLP techniques can analyze employee reviews, news articles, and social media posts to gauge sentiment and detect negative trends related to a principal's reputation. Blockchain technology offers potential for increased transparency in financial transactions and supply chain operations, reducing opportunities for fraud and facilitating real-time monitoring of changes that could serve as red flags. In terms of unusual bidding patterns, statistical methods such as time series analysis and outlier detection algorithms can identify deviations from normative behavior. Econometric models can incorporate variables like project size, industry averages, and historical bid data to establish expected bidding ranges. Deviations beyond established confidence intervals may trigger further investigation. Additionally, integrating competitive intelligence insights helps contextualize bidding behaviors within broader market dynamics, accounting for factors such as new market entrants, changes in demand, or regulatory shifts. High staff turnover can be further examined through predictive analytics that identify leading indicators of employee dissatisfaction. Surveys measuring employee engagement, organizational commitment, and workplace climate provide quantitative data that can be tracked over time. Human resources analytics can segment turnover data by department, tenure, or demographic factors to uncover specific areas of concern. Proactive measures, such as enhancing employee value propositions or leadership development programs, can mitigate turnover and its associated reputational risks. Changes in financial backers require a nuanced analysis of the motivations and implications of such shifts. Qualitative assessments involve examining statements from departing investors, analyzing changes in investment terms, and reviewing market analyst reports. Quantitative analysis may include assessing the impact on the organization's capital structure, liquidity ratios, and cost of capital. Scenario planning can help anticipate potential consequences, such as covenant breaches, credit rating downgrades, or loss of strategic guidance provided by experienced investors. Risk mitigation strategies based on red flag detection encompass a range of actions tailored to the specific risks identified. Underwriters might adjust pricing models to reflect increased risk, require higher levels of collateral, or include covenants that mandate regular reporting on key risk areas. In cases where red flags indicate severe risks, they may opt to decline coverage or terminate existing agreements. Organizations themselves may initiate internal audits, restructure management teams, or implement corrective action plans to address underlying issues and restore confidence among stakeholders. Ethical considerations are paramount in the detection and response to red flags. Organizations must balance the need for thorough investigation with respect for confidentiality and privacy. Gathering sensitive information, particularly related to employee turnover or investor relationships, must comply with legal requirements such as data protection regulations and labor laws. Transparency and communication with stakeholders is essential to maintain trust, but disclosures must be carefully managed to avoid unnecessary alarm or reputational harm. From a strategic management perspective, the identification of red flags aligns with the principles of proactive risk management and strategic agility. Organizations that effectively monitor and respond to early warning signals are better positioned to adapt to changing conditions, capitalize on opportunities, and mitigate threats. Strategic frameworks like the Balanced Scorecard incorporate both financial and non-financial metrics, facilitating a comprehensive approach to performance monitoring that includes potential red flags. Technological advancements continue to reshape the landscape of red flag detection. The integration of Internet of Things, IoT devices, and real-time data feeds enhances the ability to monitor operational metrics that may signal issues such as equipment performance, supply chain disruptions, or environmental conditions. Cybersecurity risks, which have become increasingly prominent, can be monitored through indicators like unauthorized access attempts, unusual network activity, or phishing incidents. These technological capabilities necessitate robust cybersecurity protocols and the incorporation of cyber risk indicators into broader risk management frameworks. Globalization introduces additional complexity to the identification and interpretation of red flags. Cultural differences, variations in business practices, and divergent regulatory environments affect how indicators are perceived and addressed. Multinational organizations must tailor their risk assessment processes to account for regional nuances, legal requirements, and geopolitical factors. Cross-cultural management theories and international business studies provide insights into adapting practices for global contexts. Corporate governance structures play a critical role in monitoring and responding to red flags. Effective boards of directors provide oversight and strategic guidance, ensuring that management addresses potential issues promptly. Governance models emphasize accountability, transparency, and stakeholder engagement. Regulatory frameworks, such as the UK Corporate Governance Code or the OECD Principles of Corporate Governance, outline best practices that enhance organizational resilience and reputation. Behavioral factors influence both the emergence of red flags and the responses to them. Cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias or overconfidence, may lead decision-makers to ignore or downplay warning signs. Organizational culture that discourages dissent or prioritizes short-term gains over long-term sustainability can exacerbate risks. Training programs that promote critical thinking, ethical decision-making, and open communication help mitigate these behavioral risks. Legal and regulatory considerations are integral to the context of red flags. Compliance with anti-money laundering, AML regulations, anti-bribery laws, and industry-specific regulations is essential to avoid legal penalties and reputational damage. Regulatory bodies often issue guidelines and advisories that highlight common red flags associated with illicit activities. Organizations must stay abreast of these developments and incorporate regulatory guidance into their risk management practices. In the financial services industry, changes in key financial indicators serve as quantitative red flags. Credit default swap spreads, bond yield spreads, and stock price volatility are market-based measures that reflect perceptions of risk. Analysts monitor these indicators alongside company-specific metrics to assess the financial health of principals. Credit rating agencies provide assessments that incorporate both quantitative and qualitative factors, offering external validation of risk levels. Advanced analytics and data visualization tools enhance the ability to detect and interpret red flags. Dashboards that integrate multiple data sources provide real-time visibility into key risk indicators. Machine learning models can be trained to recognize patterns associated with historical instances of fraud, default, or operational failures. However, reliance on automated systems requires careful management to prevent overfitting, ensure data quality, and address ethical concerns related to algorithmic decision-making. Interdisciplinary collaboration enhances the effectiveness of red flag detection. Combining expertise from finance, law, psychology, data science, and other fields enables a more comprehensive analysis of risks. For example, legal experts can interpret the implications of litigation trends, while data scientists develop models to detect anomalies. Psychologists contribute insights into organizational behavior and ethical culture, informing interventions to address root causes. In the realm of supply chain management, red flags may include disruptions in supplier performance, changes in sourcing patterns, or indications of labor issues. Supply chain visibility tools and risk assessment frameworks help organizations monitor these indicators. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the vulnerabilities in global supply chains and underscored the importance of proactive risk management, including the identification of early warning signals. Investor relations play a role in managing perceptions related to red flags. Transparent communication with investors, analysts, and other stakeholders helps build trust and can mitigate the impact of negative developments. Best practices in investor relations involve regular updates, clear explanations of strategic decisions, and responsiveness to stakeholder concerns. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, and environmental, social, and governance, ESG considerations are increasingly important in assessing principal reputation. Red flags in these areas may include negative environmental impacts, poor labor practices, or governance failures. Rating agencies and sustainability indices provide assessments of ESG performance, which influence investor decisions and public perceptions. Organizations must monitor and address potential issues to maintain credibility and meet stakeholder expectations. Mergers and acquisitions, M&A, present unique challenges in red flag detection. Due diligence processes must thoroughly assess target companies for potential risks, including undisclosed liabilities, cultural incompatibilities, or regulatory compliance issues. Failure to identify red flags in M&A transactions can lead to integration problems, financial losses, or reputational harm. Finally, the human element is central to both the emergence of red flags and the ability to respond effectively. Leadership commitment to ethical practices, risk awareness, and continuous improvement sets the tone for organizational culture. Employee training and empowerment enable individuals at all levels to recognize and report concerns. Whistleblower programs and protections encourage transparency and accountability, contributing to the early detection of issues. The analysis of social and digital footprints for reputation indicators has emerged as a critical component in the strategic toolkit of modern organizations. In an era characterized by the pervasive influence of digital platforms, understanding how a principal, whether an individual or an entity, is perceived online is essential for managing reputation, mitigating risks, and leveraging opportunities. Mining social media, online reviews, and digital news allows for sentiment analysis that provides nuanced insights into public opinion, stakeholder engagement, and potential areas of concern. Evaluating how these online perceptions correlate with actual business performance enables organizations to make data-driven decisions that enhance their competitiveness and resilience. Historically, the concept of reputation management was confined to traditional media and word-of-mouth communication. With the advent of the Internet and the proliferation of digital platforms in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the dynamics of reputation have fundamentally shifted. The rise of Web 2.0 technologies facilitated user-generated content, leading to an explosion of information available on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Online review sites like Yelp, TripAdvisor, and Glassdoor have become influential in shaping consumer perceptions and behaviors. The digital transformation has necessitated new approaches to reputation analysis, leveraging advances in data analytics, natural language processing, and artificial intelligence to process vast amounts of unstructured data. The theoretical frameworks underpinning the analysis of social and digital footprints draw from multiple disciplines, including computer science, linguistics, psychology, and sociology. Sentiment analysis, also known as opinion mining, is a key methodology that involves extracting subjective information from text data to determine the polarity of opinions, whether they are positive, negative, or neutral. Techniques such as machine learning algorithms, lexicon-based approaches, and hybrid methods are employed to analyze textual data at various levels, including document level, sentence level, and aspect level analysis. Seminal works by scholars like Bing Liu have advanced the field by developing methodologies for opinion mining and sentiment analysis, emphasizing the importance of context and the challenges posed by language nuances. Practical applications of mining social media for sentiment analysis involve several steps. Data collection is facilitated through APIs provided by platforms like Twitter or through web scraping techniques. Pre-processing of textual data includes tokenization, stop word removal, and stemming or lemmatization to prepare the data for analysis. Feature extraction methods such as bag of words, n-grams, and part-of-speech tagging are utilized to represent the text in a format suitable for computational processing. Machine learning models, including support vector machines, decision trees, and deep learning neural networks, are trained on labeled datasets to classify sentiments. Real-time monitoring systems can detect spikes in sentiment, alerting organizations to emerging issues or crises. Online reviews present a rich source of qualitative data that reflects customer experiences and satisfaction levels. Aspect-based sentiment analysis delves deeper by examining sentiments expressed about specific features or attributes of a product or service. For instance, in the hospitality industry, reviews may contain sentiments about room cleanliness, staff friendliness, or location convenience. By aggregating and analyzing these sentiments, organizations can identify strengths and weaknesses, inform operational improvements, and enhance customer satisfaction. Additionally, the volume and recency of reviews can influence search engine rankings and visibility on review platforms, impacting customer acquisition and retention. Digital news media, encompassing online newspapers, blogs, and news aggregators, significantly influence public discourse and reputation. Media content analysis involves tracking mentions of the principal, assessing the tone of coverage, and identifying key themes or narratives. Techniques such as topic modeling and named entity recognition help in categorizing and summarizing large volumes of news articles. Sentiment analysis of news content provides insights into how events or announcements are being received by the public and stakeholders. Organizations can use these insights to tailor communication strategies, engage with the media proactively, and manage potential reputational risks. Interdisciplinary connections enhance the understanding of social and digital footprint analysis. Psychology contributes to interpreting how cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias or negativity bias, influence the way individuals process and share information online. Sociological theories, like social network theory, explain how information and sentiments propagate through networks, affecting collective perceptions. The concept of homophily suggests that individuals are more likely to connect with others who share similar opinions, reinforcing echo chambers that can amplify sentiments. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for designing effective engagement strategies and countering misinformation. Evaluating the correlation between online perceptions and actual business performance involves integrating sentiment analysis results with key performance indicators, KPIs. Statistical methods such as correlation analysis and regression modeling are employed to quantify the relationship between sentiment scores and financial metrics like revenue, stock prices, or customer churn rates. Research studies, such as those published in the Journal of Marketing Research, have found significant correlations between social media sentiment and market performance indicators. For example, positive online sentiments can lead to increased sales and customer loyalty, while negative sentiments may signal issues that require immediate attention. Contemporary debates in the field address challenges related to data quality, algorithmic bias, and ethical considerations. Sentiment analysis algorithms may struggle with sarcasm, irony, or context-dependent expressions, leading to misclassification of sentiments. Biases in training data can result in skewed analysis outcomes, disproportionately affecting certain groups or perspectives. Ethical concerns revolve around privacy, consent, and the use of personal data. Regulations such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, impose strict requirements on data handling practices. Organizations must navigate these challenges by employing robust data governance frameworks, investing in algorithmic fairness, and fostering transparency in their methodologies. Advanced and speculative insights point toward the integration of multimodal data sources and the use of more sophisticated artificial intelligence techniques. Beyond textual data, incorporating images, videos, and audio into sentiment analysis can provide a more comprehensive understanding of public perceptions. For instance, image recognition algorithms can analyze visual content shared on platforms like Instagram to gauge brand sentiment. The development of transformer-based models, such as BERT, bidirectional encoder representations from transformers, has significantly improved the capabilities of natural language understanding, enabling more accurate sentiment analysis with context-aware interpretations. The role of influencers and micro-influencers in shaping online perceptions is a critical area of focus. Influencers often have dedicated follower bases and can sway opinions through endorsements or critiques. Social network analysis can identify key opinion leaders within digital communities, enabling organizations to engage strategically with these individuals. Collaborations with influencers must be managed carefully to maintain authenticity and comply with advertising regulations that require disclosure of sponsored content. In the realm of business strategy, integrating sentiment analysis into decision-making processes enhances responsiveness and agility. For instance, product development teams can use feedback from online reviews to inform feature enhancements or identify unmet customer needs. Marketing campaigns can be adjusted in real time based on public reception and engagement metrics. Investor relations departments monitor sentiment to anticipate market reactions to corporate announcements or financial results. The ability to harness insights from social and digital footprints confers a competitive advantage by aligning organizational actions with stakeholder expectations. Technological challenges persist, particularly concerning scalability and processing power required for real-time analysis of large data volumes. Cloud computing solutions and distributed processing frameworks like Apache Hadoop and Spark address some of these challenges by enabling parallel data processing. However, the complexity of human language, including idiomatic expressions and evolving slang, necessitates continuous updates to linguistic resources and models. Collaboration between computational linguists, data scientists, and domain experts is essential to refine algorithms and improve accuracy. Ethical AI and responsible innovation are increasingly emphasized in the development of sentiment analysis tools. Organizations are adopting principles such as fairness, accountability, and transparency to guide their use of artificial intelligence. Explainable AI techniques aim to make algorithmic decisions interpretable, allowing stakeholders to understand how conclusions are reached. This transparency builds trust and facilitates compliance with regulatory expectations. Additionally, involving diverse teams in the development process helps mitigate biases and ensures that tools are sensitive to different cultural contexts and perspectives. Cross-cultural considerations are vital when analyzing global social media data. Language nuances, cultural norms, and communication styles vary significantly across regions. Sentiment expressions may differ in tone, intensity, or connotation. For example, the use of emojis or emoticons can carry different meanings in different cultures. Localization of sentiment analysis models involves adapting linguistic resources, sentiment lexicons, and training data to reflect regional specificities. Multilingual models and cross-lingual transfer learning techniques are advancing capabilities in this area, enabling more accurate analysis across languages. Collaborative efforts between academia, industry, and government entities facilitate the advancement of methodologies and the establishment of standards. Open-source initiatives and shared datasets promote innovation and democratize access to tools and resources. Conferences and workshops provide forums for knowledge exchange, networking, and the dissemination of best practices. Regulatory bodies contribute by setting guidelines that protect consumer interests while enabling technological progress. The impact on small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, is notable, as these organizations can leverage sentiment analysis to compete effectively in the digital marketplace. Affordable and user-friendly tools empower SMEs to monitor their online presence, engage with customers, and respond to feedback promptly. Positive online reputations can drive customer acquisition and retention, while proactive management of negative sentiments can mitigate potential risks. Training and support for SMEs in digital literacy and data analytics enhance their capabilities and contribute to economic growth. Educational institutions are incorporating modules on sentiment analysis, data ethics, and digital marketing into curricula across disciplines such as business, computer science, and communication studies. Equipping the next generation of professionals with skills in data analysis, critical thinking, and ethical considerations prepares them to navigate the complexities of the digital landscape. Lifelong learning opportunities and professional certifications support continuous skill development in response to rapidly evolving technologies. The integration of emotion analysis extends the capabilities of sentiment analysis by identifying specific emotions expressed in text, such as joy, anger, fear, or sadness. Emotion recognition enhances the granularity of analysis and provides deeper insights into consumer behaviors and motivations. Applications include mental health assessments, customer service enhancements, and social research. However, accurately detecting emotions presents challenges due to the subjective nature of emotional expression and the influence of cultural factors. Regulatory implications encompass compliance with advertising standards, disclosure requirements, and consumer protection laws. Organizations must ensure transparency in their online communications, particularly when engaging in influencer marketing or sponsored content. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC in the United States, for example, provides guidelines on endorsements and testimonials in advertising. Non-compliance can result in legal penalties and damage to reputation. The use of predictive analytics in sentiment analysis allows organizations to forecast trends and anticipate shifts in public opinion. Time series analysis and machine learning models can predict sentiment trajectories based on historical data and external variables. For instance, predictive models might identify correlations between macroeconomic indicators and consumer sentiments, informing strategic planning. The integration of external data sources, such as economic reports or weather data, enhances the robustness of predictions. In the context of crisis management, real-time sentiment analysis is instrumental in detecting and responding to emerging issues. Early identification of negative sentiment spikes enables organizations to initiate communication strategies, address concerns, and prevent escalation. Case studies, such as the response to the Volkswagen emissions scandal, illustrate the consequences of delayed or inadequate responses to negative public sentiment. Effective crisis communication leverages insights from sentiment analysis to craft messages that resonate with stakeholders and rebuild trust. The role of artificial intelligence in automating customer interactions is expanding through the use of chatbots and virtual assistants. These technologies utilize natural language understanding to interpret user inputs and generate appropriate responses. Sentiment analysis enhances the ability of chatbots to detect customer emotions and adjust interactions accordingly, providing personalized and empathetic service. However, ensuring that automated systems align with brand values and maintain high-quality interactions requires ongoing monitoring and refinement. Privacy concerns related to data collection and analysis are addressed through adherence to data protection regulations and the implementation of privacy-preserving techniques. Methods such as data anonymization, aggregation, and differential privacy reduce the risk of exposing personal information. Organizations must balance the benefits of data-driven insights with the obligation to protect individual rights and maintain trust. The proliferation of misinformation and fake news on digital platforms poses challenges for reputation management. Sentiment analysis must account for the credibility of sources and the potential impact of false information. Techniques such as credibility assessment, source verification, and fact-checking algorithms are being developed to enhance the reliability of analysis. Collaboration with platforms to address misinformation contributes to a healthier digital ecosystem. In conclusion, the analysis of social and digital footprints for reputation indicators is a multifaceted endeavor that integrates technological innovation, interdisciplinary knowledge, and ethical considerations. As digital platforms continue to evolve and shape public discourse, organizations must remain vigilant in monitoring and interpreting online sentiments. The ability to understand and respond to public perceptions is not only a matter of reputation management, but also a strategic imperative that influences business performance, stakeholder relationships, and long-term success. Engaging third-party verification agencies effectively is a critical strategy for organizations seeking to enhance their background checks and align with stringent underwriting standards. The selection and collaboration with external verification firms involve a multifaceted process that requires a deep understanding of the industry's landscape, regulatory environment, and the specific needs of the organization. These agencies specialize in conducting thorough investigations into the backgrounds of individuals or entities, providing comprehensive reports that inform risk assessment and decision-making processes. By leveraging their expertise, organizations can mitigate risks associated with fraud, compliance violations, and reputational damage. Historically, the use of third-party verification agencies emerged as a response to the increasing complexity of regulatory requirements and the globalization of business operations. In the late 20th century, the expansion of international trade and the rise of complex financial instruments necessitated more robust due diligence practices. Organizations recognized that internal resources were often insufficient to navigate the intricate web of legal, financial, and reputational risks. External firms, equipped with specialized skills and access to proprietary databases, became essential partners in conducting enhanced background checks. The enactment of laws such as the USA Patriot Act and the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act further underscored the need for comprehensive verification processes to prevent money laundering, bribery, and other illicit activities. The theoretical frameworks underpinning the engagement of third-party verification agencies draw from risk management theory, principal agent theory, and information asymmetry concepts. Risk management theory emphasizes the identification, assessment, and prioritization of risks, advocating for strategies that reduce the likelihood or impact of adverse events. Engaging external verification firms aligns with this theory by addressing information gaps and providing independent assessments. Principal agent theory highlights the challenges that arise when one party, the principal, delegates work to another, the agent, who may have different interests or access to information. Third-party agencies act as neutral agents that bridge information asymmetry between organizations and the subjects of background checks. Selecting the appropriate third-party verification agency involves evaluating several critical factors. First, the agency's expertise and track record in the relevant industry or sector are paramount. Firms with specialized knowledge of specific regulatory environments, cultural nuances, or industry practices can provide more accurate and actionable insights. For instance, in the financial services sector, agencies familiar with anti-money laundering regulations and financial crime detection are invaluable. Second, the agency's methodologies and technologies should align with the organization's standards and compliance requirements. This includes their data collection processes, verification techniques, and adherence to privacy laws such as the General Data Protection Regulation. Another key consideration is the agency's global reach and access to diverse information sources. In an interconnected world, risks often transcend national borders, making it essential for verification firms to have international capabilities. Agencies with multilingual staff, local contacts, and access to international databases can uncover information that might otherwise remain hidden. Additionally, the agency's reputation and ethical standards are crucial, as their practices reflect on the organization that engages them. Due diligence on the agency itself ensures that they operate with integrity, comply with legal requirements, and employ best practices in data security and confidentiality. Collaborating effectively with third-party verification agencies requires establishing clear communication channels, defining objectives, and setting expectations. Organizations should provide detailed briefs outlining the scope of the background checks, the specific areas of interest, and any pertinent contextual information. This ensures that the agency's efforts are focused and aligned with the organization's needs. Regular updates and feedback loops facilitate transparency and allow for adjustments in the investigation process as new information emerges. Confidentiality agreements and data protection measures must be in place to safeguard sensitive information and comply with legal obligations. Interpreting reports from verification agencies involves more than a cursory review of findings. It necessitates a critical analysis to align the information with underwriting standards and risk assessment frameworks. Underwriting standards are guidelines used by financial institutions and insurers to evaluate the risk associated with a potential client or investment. These standards consider factors such as creditworthiness, compliance history, financial stability, and reputational risk. Reports from verification agencies provide data points that feed into these criteria. To align reports with underwriting standards, organizations must map the findings to specific risk factors and assess their significance. For example, if a background check reveals previous litigation involving fraud allegations, underwriters must evaluate the credibility of the allegations, the outcomes of the cases, and their relevance to the current context. Quantitative risk scoring models can be employed to assign weights to different findings, integrating them into an overall risk assessment. This approach ensures that decisions are data-driven and consistent with the organization's risk appetite. Practical applications of engaging third-party verification agencies are evident across various sectors. In mergers and acquisitions, thorough background checks on target companies and key personnel are essential to uncover potential liabilities, compliance issues, or reputational risks that could affect the transaction's value. In the hiring process, especially for senior positions or roles with access to sensitive information, enhanced background checks help prevent insider threats and ensure that candidates meet ethical and professional standards. Financial institutions use third-party verifications to comply with Know Your Customer (KYC) regulations, preventing fraud and money laundering activities. Interdisciplinary connections enhance the understanding and effectiveness of third-party verifications. Legal expertise is essential to navigate the complexities of privacy laws, regulatory compliance, and contractual obligations. Ethical considerations, rooted in philosophy and organizational ethics, guide the responsible handling of personal data and respect for individual rights. Technological advancements in data analytics, Artificial intelligence and machine learning enable verification agencies to process large volumes of data more efficiently and identify patterns indicative of risk. Contemporary debates in the field revolve around the balance between thorough due diligence and respect for privacy, the reliance on automated systems versus human judgment, and the standardization of verification practices across jurisdictions. Critics argue that invasive background checks may infringe on individual privacy rights, and that over-reliance on data-driven algorithms could perpetuate biases or errors. Proponents emphasize the necessity of comprehensive verifications to protect organizations from significant financial and reputational harm. Advanced and speculative insights point toward the increasing integration of blockchain technology and decentralized databases in the verification process. Blockchain's immutable and transparent ledger system could enhance the reliability of background checks by providing tamper-proof records of transactions, credentials, and compliance activities. Biometric technologies and digital identities are also emerging as tools for verifying individual identities with higher accuracy. In selecting a third-party verification agency, organizations must conduct their due diligence on the agency itself. This includes assessing the agency's certifications, such as ISO standards for quality management and information security. References from other clients, case studies, and industry recognition provide additional assurance of the agency's capabilities. Organizations should also consider the scalability of the agency's services, ensuring that they can meet current and future needs as the organization grows or expands into new markets. Effective collaboration extends to establishing service-level agreements, SLAs, that define the scope of services, timelines, deliverables, and performance metrics. Clear contractual terms protect both parties and set expectations for quality and responsiveness. Regular performance reviews and audits of the agency's processes contribute to continuous improvement and alignment with organizational objectives. Interpreting reports requires expertise in risk analysis and an understanding of the nuances within the data. Underwriters and risk managers should be trained to identify red flags, assess the reliability of sources, and contextualize findings within the broader risk landscape. For instance, a negative media report may require validation and analysis of its impact on the organization's reputation or legal standing. Collaborative discussions between the verification agency and the organization's risk team can clarify ambiguities and provide deeper insights. Aligning verification reports with underwriting standards involves integrating the findings into existing risk frameworks and decision-making processes. Organizations may use risk matrices, heat maps, or scoring systems to visualize and prioritize risks. The integration of verification findings ensures that underwriting decisions are comprehensive and consider all relevant factors. This alignment supports compliance with regulatory requirements, such as those imposed by financial authorities or industry regulators, which often mandate specific due diligence practices. The role of technology in enhancing third-party verifications cannot be overstated. Verification agencies leverage advanced data mining techniques, access to proprietary databases, and analytical tools to uncover information that may not be readily available through public sources. Artificial intelligence algorithms assist in identifying patterns of fraudulent behavior, connections between entities, and discrepancies in data. However, technology is a tool that complements, rather than replaces, human expertise. Critical thinking, professional judgment, and ethical considerations remain essential components of the verification process. Cultural competence is an important aspect when conducting international verifications. Understanding local laws, customs, and languages enables agencies to navigate complex environments effectively. For example, accessing court records or corporate registries may require knowledge of local administrative procedures. Cultural nuances can also affect the interpretation of information, such as the significance of certain legal actions or business practices in different jurisdictions. Regulatory compliance is a driving force behind the use of third-party verification agencies. Organizations are held accountable for ensuring that their partners, clients, and employees meet legal and ethical standards. Failure to conduct adequate background checks can result in legal penalties, financial losses, and damage to reputation. Regulatory bodies often provide guidelines or requirements for due diligence practices, which organizations must incorporate into their verification processes. Ethical considerations permeate the engagement with third-party verification agencies. Respecting the privacy and rights of individuals is paramount. Organizations must ensure that the collection, storage, and use of personal data comply with legal standards and ethical principles. Consent, data minimization, and purpose limitation are key concepts derived from privacy laws and ethical frameworks. Transparency with subjects of background checks, where appropriate, fosters trust and upholds the organization's integrity. In conclusion, effectively engaging third-party verification agencies is a complex endeavor that requires careful selection, strategic collaboration, and thoughtful interpretation of findings. By integrating these agencies into their risk management and underwriting processes, organizations enhance their ability to make informed decisions, comply with regulations, and protect their interests. The interplay of historical developments, theoretical foundations, practical applications, and interdisciplinary insights provides a rich context for understanding the importance and nuances of this critical aspect of modern organizational practice. The practice of conducting discrete interviews with industry peers, former employees, and subcontractors to gather confidential yet actionable information is a sophisticated technique that plays a pivotal role in organizational decision-making. This method, rooted in qualitative research traditions, enables organizations to obtain deep insights that are often inaccessible through formal channels. The ability to document and analyze qualitative feedback effectively transforms raw data into strategic intelligence, informing decisions that can impact everything from risk management to competitive strategy. Understanding the historical evolution of these techniques, the theoretical frameworks that underpin them, and their practical applications provides a comprehensive perspective on their significance and utility. Historically, the use of informal networks and personal relationships to gather information has been a fundamental aspect of human interaction and commerce. In ancient trade societies, merchants relied on word of mouth and personal connections to assess the reputations of potential partners or rivals. The advent of guilds and professional associations in medieval Europe formalized these networks, facilitating the exchange of confidential insights among trusted members. With the rise of modern corporations in the 20th century, the need for more structured approaches to information gathering became apparent. Organizations began to recognize the value of systematically conducting interviews to glean insights into market conditions, competitor strategies, and internal organizational dynamics. The theoretical foundations of conducting discrete interviews are multifaceted, drawing from disciplines such as sociology, psychology, and organizational behavior. Grounded theory, a qualitative research methodology developed by Glaser and Strauss in the 1960s, emphasizes the generation of theory through systematic data collection and analysis. This approach aligns with the practice of gathering insights from interviews, as it allows for the emergence of patterns and themes that are not predetermined. Social exchange theory posits that human relationships are formed by the use of a subjective cost-benefit analysis and the comparison of alternatives. This theory underscores the importance of building trust and reciprocity when engaging with interview subjects, as individuals are more likely to share information when they perceive mutual benefits. Conducting discrete interviews requires meticulous planning and ethical consideration. The first step involves identifying potential interview subjects who possess the desired insights. Peers within the industry can provide perspectives on market trends, competitor behavior, and industry best practices. Former employees offer valuable information on organizational culture, leadership effectiveness, and operational challenges. Subcontractors can shed light on supply chain dynamics, procurement practices, and the reliability of partners. The selection process should consider factors such as the individual's experience, reputation for discretion, and potential biases. Establishing trust with interview subjects is paramount. Confidentiality assurances are essential to encourage openness and protect the interviewee's interests. This involves clearly communicating the purpose of the interview, how the information will be used, and the measures in place to safeguard their identity. Ethical guidelines, such as those outlined by the American Psychological Association, emphasize informed consent, confidentiality, and the avoidance of harm. Researchers must balance the pursuit of valuable information with the responsibility to respect the rights and dignity of participants. The interview techniques employed can significantly influence the quality and depth of the information gathered. Semi-structured interviews are particularly effective, as they combine the flexibility to explore emerging topics with the guidance of predetermined questions. Open-ended questions encourage detailed responses and allow interviewees to express their thoughts freely. Probing questions can delve deeper into specific areas of interest, uncovering underlying motivations or concerns. Active listening skills, such as paraphrasing and summarizing, demonstrate engagement and encourage further disclosure. Nonverbal communication plays a critical role in building rapport and interpreting responses. Eye contact, body language, and tone of voice convey empathy and attentiveness, fostering a comfortable environment for the interviewee. Cultural sensitivity is essential, especially when interviewing individuals from diverse backgrounds. Understanding cultural norms and communication styles enhances the interviewer's ability to connect with subjects and interpret their responses accurately.